Again, this is really about trying to get an affordable product out there as an alternative of housing to the buyers of Calexico. Again, they're taking care of everything else, including absorbing some costs that have gone exorbitant. That's still their responsibility. It also deals with the issue of that retention basin, which, in my mind, as the spokesman for the developer at that time, it was always the intent that the mobile home park would maintain that area as a park, getting either the city and or the assessment that's governing that off the hook of maintaining everything having to do with it being a park, because its only responsibility would be just a pipe system for its drainage. So you've got somebody else mowing the grass, planting the trees, those kinds of things, because their citizens within that community are going to have the exclusive right to the service rights to that. So this is really about clarifying, I think, some of the conditions more than anything. It's allowing us to go forward to at least allow the County of Imperial's building department to do the Title 25 plan check and a couple of deferments. One of those with a trigger that says the money is due based on what you've done when you actually are ready to spend the money. And the other one is to defer because of not only the cost of undergrounding that pipeline, the beach canal, but they have to, in addition to these payments for Cole Road, finish widening Cole Road on their site. And so it's the cost of those original conditions over this period of time that has escalated, and so that's why they're requesting that now. The impound accounts are going to get interest on that during that period of time. So I think you'll be protected by this MOU. That's the first thing.
So you're saying there would be impound accounts, Mr. DeVos?
Yes. All these funds that we're talking about are the impound accounts.
Okay. Anything else? Gentlemen.
Mr. Mayor, if the council is interested in approving the agreement as it stands tonight, there are 3 issues that I'd like to ask approval, if you're going to do that, for me to provide further language on. 3 issues. One of them is the issue of this right only being for this particular developer, so that if you agree to defer payment of fees, if this developer sells it to anyone else, the fees would automatically become due and owing. So there's that language. Also, we learned some other things today, and Mr. DeVos just brought it up about the CFD that governs the retention basin. I need to add some clarification to protect the city's rights on the use of the retention basin and also this maintenance aspect. And thirdly, you brought up the issue of what if this developer doesn't pay it. I could look into possibly putting some language in there about a lien on the property. We already have language in there that runs, the burden of it runs, but maybe there's some language I could add regarding the fact that if this developer just stops developing, that we could impose some type of a lien that would help protect the city and get those fees back in some manner. So I just want to bring those 3 points up in case there's a motion on this particular item.
I just don't want to set a precedent. We start shifting that. We get to somebody
speaking on behalf of the developer, we would accept all of the city attorney's recommendations.
One of the things that happened to us the last time is that we accepted to not trigger the park until I think it was the 51st or 251st, and they ended up building what, 700 homes or something like that, and we never got the park. But before I walked out, I'm sorry I had to take that I didn't know if it was an emergency or not. Anyway, did Armando mention that they were requesting use of the regional retention basin? Is this the one that the dirt was removed and then, which was the whole contention? And this is the same retention basin to be utilized as a park?
Yeah,
or is it green?
It's a regional for the projects that were approved as part of that overall master plan.
Right.
It's not a part of the city overall. So it still operates as a retention basin, but the surface rights as a park would be for the citizens of that mobile home, modular home project.
Only?
Yes, but then all of the responsibility of maintaining it from a landscaping point of view, from the expense of landscaping it, all of it would also be the projects, not everybody else within that community.
So would you gate it, or?
Yes, yeah,
No, gate the retention.
It's already protected. It's already a gated community, and so it's inside that gated community. access to it other than the citizens of that particular development north of Cole. So they're putting that in.
Well, we looked at that, but the design of the retention basin, the way it is designed today, it would be really prohibitive to be rather than the general park. It's very narrow right away where it would enter, and it's really not a
What did,
It's just sounding like this needs to come back again. There's just so many loose corners and ends, but mostly I agree. We have, these are bad impact economic times for everyone, and we've just seen the budget, and we have, you got to pay for the services that you are going to get from the city. Is my bottom line on this, and then we can talk about changes and all the other conditions and everything else. And did the city create the delay in developing this? No. We did, it's been a while longer and everything goes up in expenses, and we're all looking at gasoline expenses and everything else. So I feel very strongly that we're not to continue with this the way that you want it, because it's not fair. Every developer should pay for the services they receive from our city at the time. That's how we have it.
I was going
It's going
to
to be changing.
I was going to add, if I may, the retention basin, if we can get that issue of whether or not it can be utilized or not, if they're willing to maintain it, I mean, that's something I can compromise. I would at least, that's not a big issue. That's really not. Let me just highlight, I think Sabrina is here from IID, and I had a brief conversation with John Kermanville regarding this, and I asked if he was going to be here or if he was sending somebody here, and he mentioned that he had somebody in discuss Sabrina. Anyway, we were talking about the beach canal, and we said, we need your help. I said to him, we need your help on this, because we can't just not develop your property, but we can't develop the commercial property that's on the La Jolla Palms section right there. And, I don't know much about undergrounding canals, so I threw out a couple of ideas. I said, can we at least open up the areas where we have to put in the cross streets? We have to go link up the Cole Road with some of the streets that we need to enter into some of the projects. He says, no, that's probably going to cost a lot more than if we just kind of did the whole thing. We have a letter, I think, that said that to underground the beach canal will be $1.7 million, and then it was revised $2.4 million. Yes.
That was only for a small portion, not opposed for.
Like Valker to some.
Yeah, that was probably Spring Harbor, IID Water Department, we go to East Bergen, Boulevard Trail. That portion that you're talking about, as far as I know, we have not finalized the actual design on the Las Palmas project. However, we have completed our opinion of cost for the design phase of the La Jolla Palms commercial piece, and that came out to about 2.2, 2.4. So what Mr. DeVoe brought up earlier is the beach relocation. That's another option that we've been looking at. And for everybody involved, that's actually the best option. It would be advantageous for the city of Calexico, also for the IID, and of course for the 3 developers, because they will actually get their land back. And what that project proposes is that we would move 3.5 miles of the existing beach canal and abandon that entire portion, and we would connect from the All-American Canal and come horizontal to Clove Road and connect again at Cole on the west side of the city. And that option, I mean, it's extremely pricey, and as Tom mentioned, we've been working on it for, well, I say IID, they've been doing it for 7 years, I've only been, for 2 years. It's been a long, difficult process, and but we're really pushing, we're trying to find some other alternatives, because it is so extremely a financial burden on these developers. So we're trying to come to some sort of resolution that maybe if we get 2 developers to actually move forward, because there's actually 3 projects, one of which Mr. DeVos had mentioned is not even at the table anymore. I believe